Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to talk a little bit about just some helpful tips that I think it would help a lot of the vegans out there, because I do have a fair number of vegan viewers. Vegans are pretty big in the YouTube community, but for a lot of reasons they actually get despised and hated in spite of the arguments that they make, and I want to offer a few tips to them as far as changing maybe the way that they approach things if they want to gain more acceptance. So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, work on skilling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. And I'm going to talk about this from the perspective of someone who has been a vegan in the past, and just my observations of the community, the sort of arguments they make, the arguments they put forward. And actually, I did convince people when I was a vegan to at least give it a try and consider it. I don't see myself ever becoming a vegan again. And now people will always say, you always get crazy vegans who will come in and say, well, you were never really a vegan if you left or you quit. Actually, no, guys, I went like 8 months without eating any sort of animal product. All right, none, nothing, not even gelatin. So I did give it an honest effort. And the thing is, the research, when you look at it, veganism isn't sustainable in a modern world when people have access to different things. Now, vegans will say, meat eating isn't sustainable. Well, that's another argument entirely now, isn't it? But the point is, 88% of people who become vegans stop being a vegan ultimately. They don't stick it out for life. It actually has a very, very low retention rate, so that's something they need to keep in mind with that. But the thing is, a couple of points as far as how vegans could be perceived better and have less people actually just make fun of them and listen to what they have to say. Number one, you guys got to quit using junk science. All right, you need to stick to your personal ethical arguments. Because that is actually the strongest argument you guys have to justify what you do and for it to make sense to other people. The problem is that when you use scientific evidence for anything, when the science is updated or your science is challenged successfully, that's it, you're done. You don't have anything left. The problem with vegans is that they don't seem to grasp the science doesn't actually support them. It really doesn't. And most registered dietitians out there and everyone else will look at it and be like, no, it doesn't support veganism. Yeah, we all agree you need to eat more plants. Everyone probably needs to eat more fiber. But there's nothing about completely excluding animal products that offers a single health benefit. All right, that's what the data shows. That's what the experts believe. It's not in favor of veganism. It just isn't. I'm not saying you can't be healthy and be a vegan, but most vegans don't really live longer than the average person. They don't have lower rates of cancer. They don't have lower rates of these diseases just because they're a vegan. It just doesn't work that way. And there's no reason to think that most animal products, again, leaner animal products, are the cause of any of these major diseases that vegans throw at them. So here's the problem. When you throw scientific arguments at people and blame things that they can go do research and see that you're wrong because they don't have the confirmation bias that you have accepting this belief system already, you're done. You're finished. You have nothing left. It would be a lot better and it would go easier for vegans if they stepped back and said, you know what, I actually understand that humans are omnivores. Humans evolved as omnivores. Our ancestors ate cooked meat before we became Homo sapien, before our last speciation for well over 1 million years. That's pretty well accepted at this point, by the way. Anthropologists, biologists generally agree on those points. We are descended from cooked meat eaters. Not saying that's all we ate. We weren't on ketogenic diets, mind you. But cooked meat, perfectly healthy. We evolved eating it. Part of our natural diet. So when people try to make arguments of a natural diet, that's right up there. Not saying that should be the basis of your argument. You don't want to fall into a naturalistic fallacy here. But the point is, if vegans step back and say, I understand humans evolved as omnivores, I understand that we developed eating cooked meat and that cooked meat is actually considered by many experts to be one of the reasons we developed our intelligence. I understand all that. I understand that it's possible to live to be over 100 as an omnivore. Plenty of cases of it. There are whole societies that have average lifespans of over 90 that all eat animal products. I understand all that. However, it's my belief that it isn't ethical in today's world to do so. All right, there's your best argument, guys. Your best argument is that you personally feel that due to ethical reasons, whether they're cruelty reasons, environmental reasons, or whatever else it happens to be, that you feel that with modern agriculture, with modern food available, with modern vitamin supplementation available, vitamin fortified foods, that it's possible to be healthy without consuming animals. All right, that's a good argument to make, and that you feel that because it isn't necessary, because of maybe the cruelty of factory farming, your concerns over environment, waste, everything else, that you personally just don't feel it's a good idea, that you're ethically opposed to it. You know what? That would be a much, much stronger stance. But here's the thing, guys. You get some people, and this is obviously not all vegans, but I did catch a lot of this when I was around that community for a little while, is that preachiness. That we're better than everyone else and everyone who eats meat is scum. And, that righteous indignation. You want to know something that turns people off in a heartbeat? When you make an argument against them, that you're wanting to change someone, when you use righteous indignation and an outright claim that you're morally superior to other people, now that's fine if you're trying to condemn other people. Like, meaning, righteous indignation and moral superiority works great for committing genocides. If that's your sort of goal, or you have people that you're not concerned with converting them to your way of thinking, that maybe you really just do hate them and want them dead, okay, fine. That's your business. You hate meat eaters and you want all meat eaters to be dead, which is, over 90% of the world population. But here's the thing. When you condemn other people with righteous indignation, you turn them off to your argument, because you've insulted them morally and you've claimed moral superiority. It is going to be twice as difficult after you do that to convince people that they might be wrong and that you might be right. That's not how you do it. You know what? You convince people of something by convincing them or showing them that you are like them. Showing that you understand them, you understand their position. Now, you might think at their position, you disagree with their position, but that you understand where they're coming from. All right? That you've been in their position, you understand it, but you think they're wrong. But you are like them. All right? When you try to convince people that you're morally superior to them, that's not convincing them that you're like them. They have no reason to relate to you. In fact, they only have reason to hate you. Because you're insulting them, you're attacking them personally. I can assure you, no one has ever successfully convinced anyone that they were right by calling that person an idiot. And like I said, you may not care about changing that person's mind, but you're also not going to make friends that way, of convincing them of that. And there are times when, it is appropriate to just call someone an idiot. I mean, some people really are idiots. But you're not going to convince that person of anything when you do that. That person is now, you're done with them. You're not going to be able to convince them of your argument. So if you even wanted them to consider veganism, or you wanted them to at least acknowledge your choice of lifestyles and foods and whatever else, that's not the best way to do it. In fact, you're doing the exact opposite. That righteous indignation that I'm right, you're wrong, I'm better than you, I'm morally superior to you, is actually the stereotype that people have of vegans. Because of that stereotype and that number of them, and it's obviously not all of them who are very outspoken with it, they actually hurt their cause. They hurt their cause tremendously, because the whole idea is that a lot of people see it and say, aha, these are just like certain people join religions. They join them just so that they can feel that they're morally superior to other people because of some inferiority complex that they have. There's something wrong with this person psychologically that they feel the need to join a movement just to scream that they're better than other people. That's what you're going to be pigeonholed as. And because a lot of vegans have done that, the entire vegan movement gets pigeonholed that way by everyone else outside of it. And they all think that you're mentally ill people who need to repeatedly tell other people that you're morally superior to them and scream at them and fling pig blood on them or whatever else. That's the militant vegan stereotype now, because of that tiny minority of outspoken idiots. See, there I go. I just did the exact thing. Exact thing I told you not to do. See how that works? If you're one of those people, you just got mad. You didn't want to listen to me now. That doesn't work. Doesn't work. So what I would suggest to them is definitely you need to drop the junk science, because it's not holding up. And if that's your foundation of why you're promoting what you're doing, or you want people to understand it or at least accept your choice, they're just going to think you're an idiot. And that's what they're going to think, because you're presenting biased science, junk science that isn't accepted. You're going to have a hard time with that. You're going to have a hard time convincing anyone that you're an intelligent, critical thinking person if they go look at the other research and realize you're not necessarily fully right. You're partially right, but you're way overreaching due to your confirmation bias. Focus on the ethical lens, but not the righteous indignation. Righteous indignation and condemning other people doesn't help you. It doesn't help you convince those people at all. Now, again, if you're talking about a smaller group of people that can't fight back, some strategies, political strategies, everything else, condemning those people can work. But you need to understand that when you condemn a group of people and you are outspoken in your moral superiority, you're not going to ever win the argument with that group of people. You're not going to convince them that you're right. They're not even going to listen to you now. So again, if you people who actually believe in this veganism thing, the best advice you could follow is to understand that if you really believe in it, you would actually care if other people follow it or not. If you really believe that it helps animals and you want to stop suffering of animals and the unnecessary killing of animals, then you might want to adopt strategies that actually work. It'll help you a lot more in your argument, and that is going to be the focus upon personal ethics, personal ethical choices that we make that affects the world around us, and that whether you feel that your personal ethics will change the world or not, it's irrelevant, because at least you know that deep down you're doing something that you feel is the right thing for cruelty purposes, humanitarian purposes, the environment, whatever your pet cause is for going into this venture, this idea, this lifestyle. You would do better to focus upon personal individual ethics and doing what you feel is right and why you feel it's right for you personally without judging and condemning everyone else. That's your winning ticket. That's how you do it. And you might actually convince a few people to give it a try if you do that. I mean, that was what was used to convince me to at least try it out. That does work. And the same thing can be true of any other argument as well. I mean, the same strategy can be used for a lot of things. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.